A reading from 1 Kings 3. Solomon made an alliance with the king of Egypt by marrying his daughter. He brought her to live in David's city until he had finished building his palace, the temple, and the wall around Jerusalem. A temple had not yet been built for the Lord, and so the people were still offering sacrifices at many different altars. Solomon loved the Lord and followed the instructions of his father David, but he also slaughtered animals and offered them as sacrifices on various altars. On one occasion, he went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices because that was where the most famous altar was. He had offered hundreds of burnt offerings there in the past. That night the Lord appeared to him in a dream and asked him, "What would you like me to give you?" Solomon answered, "You always showed great love for my father David, your servant, and he was good, loyal, and honest in his relation with you. And you have continued to show him your great and constant love by giving him a son who today rules in his place. O Lord God, you have let me succeed my father as king, even though I am very young and don't know how to rule. Here I am among the people you have chosen to be your own, a people who are so many that they cannot be counted. So, give me the wisdom I need to rule your people with justice and to know the difference between good and evil. Otherwise, how would I ever be able to rule this great people of yours?" The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this, and so he said to him, "Because you have asked for the wisdom to rule justly, instead of long life for yourself, or riches, or the death of your enemies, I will do what you have asked. I will give you more wisdom and understanding than anyone has ever had before or will ever have again. I will also give you what you have not asked for. All your life you will have wealth and honor more than that of any other king. And if you obey me and keep my laws and commands, as your father David did, I will give you a long life." Solomon woke up and realized that God had spoken to him in the dream. Then he went to Jerusalem and stood in front of the Lord's covenant box and offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings to the Lord. After that, he gave a feast for all his officials. One day, 2 prostitutes came and presented themselves before King Solomon. One of them said, "Your Majesty, this woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a baby boy at home while she was there. 2 days after my child was born, she also gave birth to a baby boy. Only the 2 of us were there in the house. No one else was present. Then, one night, she accidentally rolled over on her baby and smothered it. She got up during the night, took my son from my side while I was asleep, and carried him to her bed. Then she put the dead child in my bed. The next morning when I woke up and was going to nurse my baby, I saw that it was dead. I looked at it more closely and saw that it was not my child." But the other woman said, "No, the living child is mine, and the dead one is yours." The first woman answered back, "No, the dead child is yours, and the living one is mine." And so they argued before the king. Then King Solomon said, Each of you claims that the living child is hers and that the dead child belongs to the other one. He sent for a sword, and when it was brought, he said, "Cut the living child in two and give each woman half of it." The real mother, her heart full of love for her son, said to the king, "Please, your majesty, don't kill the child. Give it to her." But the other woman said, "Don't give it to either of us. Go on and cut it in two." Then Solomon said, "Don't kill the child. Give it to the first woman. She is its real mother." When the people of Israel heard of Solomon's decision, they were all filled with deep respect for him, because they knew then that God had given him the wisdom to settle disputes fairly. The word of the Lord. A reading from 1 Kings chapter 4. Solomon was king of all Israel, and these were his high officials: the priest Azariah, son of Zadok; the court secretaries Elihoreph and Ahijah, sons of Shisha, in charge of the records; Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud; commander of the army Benaiah, son of Jehoiada; priests Zadok and Abiathar; chief of the district governors Azariah, son of Nathan; royal advisor the priest Zabud, son of Nathan; in charge of the palace servants Ahisar; in charge of the forced labor Adoniram, son of Abda. Solomon appointed 12 men as district governors in Israel. They were to provide food from their districts for the king and his household, each man being responsible for 1 month out of the year. The following are the names of these 12 officers and the districts they were in charge of: Ben-Hur, the hill country of Ephraim; Ben-Deker, the cities of Makaz, Shaalbim, Beth-Shemesh, Elon, and Beth-Hanan; Ben-Hesed, the cities of Aruboth and Soko, and all the territory of Hepher; Ben-Abinadab, who was married to Solomon's daughter Taphath, the whole region of Dor; Baana, son of Ahilud, the cities of Tanakh, Megiddo, and all the region near Bethshan, near the town of Zarethan, south of the town of Jezreel, as far as the city of Abel Meholah and the city of Jokmeam; Ben-Geber, the city of Ramoth in Gilead, and the villages in Gilead belonging to the clan of Jair, a descendant of Manasseh, and the region of Argob in Bashan. 60 large towns in all, fortified with walls and with bronze bars on the gates. Ahinadab, son of Edo, the district of Mahanaim; Ahimaaz, who was married to Basemath, another of Solomon's daughters, the territory of Naphtali; Baana, son of Hushai, the region of Asher and the town of Bealoth; Jehoshaphat, son of Paruah, the territory of Issachar; Shimei, son of Elah, the territory of Benjamin; Geber, son of Uri, the region of Gilead, which had been ruled by King Sihon of the Amorites and King Og of Bashan. Besides these 12, there was one governor over the whole land. The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the grains of sand on the seashore. They ate and drank and were happy. Solomon's kingdom included all the nations from the Euphrates River to Philistia and the Egyptian border. They paid him taxes and were subject to him all his life. The supplies Solomon needed each day were 150 bushels of fine flour and 300 bushels of meal, 10 stall-fed cattle, 20 pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep, besides deer, gazelles, roebucks, and poultry. Solomon ruled over all the land west of the Euphrates River, from Tifsah on the Euphrates, as far west as the city of Gaza. All the kings west of the Euphrates were subject to him, and he was at peace with all the neighboring countries. As long as he lived, the people throughout Judah and Israel lived in safety, each family with its own grapevines and fig trees. Solomon had 40,000 stalls for his chariot horses and 12,000 cavalry horses. His 12 governors, each one in the month assigned to him, supplied the food King Solomon needed for himself and for all who ate in the palace. They always supplied everything needed. Each governor also supplied his share of barley and straw where it was needed for the chariot horses and the work animals. God gave Solomon unusual wisdom and insight and knowledge too great to be measured. Solomon was wiser than the wise men of the East or the wise men of Egypt. He was the wisest of all men, wiser than Ethan the Ezrahite and Heman, Calcol, and Darda, the sons of Mahol, and his fame spread throughout all the neighboring countries. He composed 3,000 proverbs and more than 1,000 songs. He spoke of trees and plants, from the Lebanon cedars to the hyssop that grows on walls. He talked about animals, birds, reptiles, and fish. Kings all over the world heard of his wisdom and sent people to listen to him. The word of the Lord.